Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland. With me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. Well, hello, it is Wednesday, which means it's time for a brand new episode of Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. I'm Kelly and I'm hosting the episode today, and we are into part 3 of a whole series on choosing your wedding suppliers. So last week we had a whole episode all about choosing your wedding photographer, and the week before we spoke about choosing your wedding venue. Today we're talking all about choosing your live wedding band. So if you are planning on filling the dance floor with your friends and family and you want to entertain them with the best live wedding band that you can possibly find, then this is the episode for you, because I'm joined by 3 wedding band experts who are going to help unpack some of the things that you need to think about when you're making this decision. Before we start going into the different elements of decisions to make, you might be wondering, why would I want to hire a wedding band if I've got some friends who play, some friends are really talented, they could probably learn a few songs and play? It's a valid question. And so I asked Alan from Long Time Coming Wedding Band for a little bit of input about why a professional live wedding band is a really good investment that you can make into your wedding. You might recognize Alan's voice because he has been on the podcast before, but have a listen because he explains it so well. So this is why having a professional live wedding band is a great idea for your wedding.
So when we look at weddings, we look at what the main objectives are for your evening entertainment, and that is to keep everybody entertained and to ensure the dance floor is full all night. Now, friends and family may well do a very good job at this, but it's something you don't want to leave the chance. Professional wedding bands who are playing at weddings week in, week out, know how to read your crowd and know how to play accordingly. If something needs to be changed within a set to make sure it works, because no 2 weddings are the same, a professional wedding band can do that. And also the interactive stuff, we have to know when to do something or when not to do something. You don't want to be too invasive, but you're also looking to create those magic moments within the wedding. So you can't beat a full live band for that. The beat of a kick drum, hearing the bass, live raw interaction. It's the best feeling in the world at a wedding.
Well, we'll hear from Alan a little bit later again, but I hope that just sets the tone for why we're talking about hiring a professional live wedding band. So with that in mind, let's get into the different steps that you are going to have to go through to make this very important decision. The first step is to determine your sound. So what do you want the end objective to be? Is it a full dance floor with people in a party atmosphere? Think about the music that you love. Is there a style that you're drawn to? Think about the music that your friends and family love, because of course it's obviously about you guys, but it's also about celebrating with everyone who's going to be there. So you want to make sure that you're choosing music that they love too. You might not have the words to explain some of the types of music that is available to you, so I asked Quillan from the Crush Wedding Band to give us a bit of an insight into some of the different genres of music and what some Irish wedding bands are capable of doing. And I really enjoyed the answer to this question, because I didn't actually know a whole lot. And you probably are sitting here thinking, actually, good point. I don't know how to put words to some of the styles and genres that I really like. So this is a great answer to give you a little bit more information about that.
How you doing? It's Quillan here from the Crush Wedding Band. How would I describe the different types of wedding music? Well, I think we're all kind of cover bands, regardless of what we're doing. But I think you do have 1 or 2 kind of like different break-off areas where you have trad or, folk, or I've seen a couple of disco folk come through the woodwork there. But then also you've got your 80s, 90s tribute bands, rock bands. And then, as I like to call ourselves, the floor fillers, which is like everything from the 50s all the way up to the hits of now, and we'll throw in some country jive, all those kind of 90s floor fillers, dance music, the whole shooting match in there as well for good measure. I think it's just a case of what is your personal taste? Do you like things to be as per your original, or would you like a little bit of a flourish? Because I know one or two songs that we do, they're played a little bit heavier than normal, as in like the guitar would be a little bit more prominent, just to kind of give it a little bit of a flourish. But everything is kind of, you know, it kind of, we try and cater to everybody's taste with everything. And I think that's what everybody does, is that they kind of cater to their taste. But I know brides and grooms have like, you know, I like just X kind of music. Can you play that? And we do cater to that as much as we physically can. But, you know, I think it's more a case of you've got all your cover bands, but you've got trad, you've got floor fillers, you've got your folk, you've got tributes, and then you've got rock bands as well. So yeah, I think there's a big range out there, which is weird when you think about it and you sit back and think, what do I really like? So yeah, me personally, I like me a little bit of a heavy dance beat, but that's just me.
Well, thank you so much, Quillan, for that amazing answer to the question, because I wouldn't have had any idea how to answer that. So the point here is your very first step is to decide what kind of music you would like to have at your wedding, and then you know which bands to go for. And so have a think about the type of styles, 80s, 90s, floor fillers. There's so many different options available to you, but that will really help you narrow down which bands you look at when you know what style you want. And so if you don't know what style you want, but you see a band and you think they're really talented and amazing at performing and, getting everybody engaged in the dance floor, then have a chat with them and just say, what styles are available to me? What could you do? Like, what are the different options? And just have that conversation, and then you know what you can do. Okay, number 2, you want to know what's included. So when you start talking to different bands, you will start to see that they have different package options available. Some bands are just the band, singer, different people playing instruments. Some bands are the band plus all the equipment that's required to make the performance happen. Sometimes that includes lighting, sometimes it is a smoke machine or a bubble machine or some other kind of really fun element. Some bands also include things like a DJ or a sax player. There's probably a better name for it than sax player. Saxophonist? I don't know, they'll know. But the point here is to have a think about what you need and then speak to the bands and see what they have and if there are any gaps that need to be filled. So another thing to consider is when your band is available to perform. So there are many moments in your wedding day that you would want to have live music. It might be somebody performing during your ceremony. It could be somebody entertaining guests during the cocktail hour when you and your spouse and your wedding party, when you guys are all getting photos taken. It could be somebody performing during dinner. It could even be, the band or DJ or both that perform during the dancing side of things. There are just so many moments that you would want to have different live music options, and some performers provide packages that cover all of those different things. So it might be that you hire a band thinking they're just going to cover the dancing, and then they say, well, actually we have a DJ available, and then the DJ comes in for the late night party, and they say, well, our lead singer is also available to do ceremony music, and we can get the lead singer and a guitarist to do cocktail hour. There are many options, and some bands can cover all of these things. Some bands might not cover them all, but they can give you recommendations of people who could cover some of those gaps. So really what you want to know is, when you're paying for your wedding band, what are you paying for? And are there any elements of what you need that you might need to outsource from somewhere else? Item number 3, when you're looking for a wedding band, you might find that you have no idea where to actually begin. So maybe you know what you're looking for in terms of style, and you know what types of packages you need to fulfill your wedding entertainment needs. But you might not know where to then find bands to actually watch and chat with. So item number 3 is to ask for recommendations. I will always say this. So if you're looking for any wedding supplier, it's always a good idea to ask for recommendations, because word of mouth is really powerful and you get to hear what other people's experiences were like. So these are 2 ways that you can get really good, reliable recommendations. Number 1, you can talk to your existing wedding suppliers and you can ask if they have recommendations. I love the fact that all across Ireland, there are these pockets of wedding suppliers that have worked together, they trust each other, and they have very reliable recommendations. So let's say you've already chosen your wedding venue, or you've picked your wedding photographer, or your planner, or your makeup artist. There's so many different suppliers that you may have already picked at this point. And you could say to them, do you guys know any good wedding bands that you can recommend? And they will give you recommendations based on experience. So professional wedding suppliers will be able to tell you that somebody is reliable, they are going to come on time, they're going to bring all the equipment they say they're going to bring, and they'll also be able to say, you know what, this band is really good at entertaining people. They're great at keeping the dance floor full. That sort of thing. So ask your suppliers, the ones you've already booked, if they have any recommendations for you, and I guarantee you will get some great recommendations from them. Second group of people you can get recommendations from is the wedding community. So we have a Facebook group. It's called Help I'm Getting Married. And I'm going to pop a link to that in the notes for this and in the episode breakdown on our blog, because it's such a great space to talk to other couples who are either planning their wedding or they've just planned the wedding and they've already gotten married, and they can tell you from real life experience how good a band is. So it doesn't hurt to join the group and post saying, hey, I'm getting married in this location, looking for this style of band. Anyone have any recommendations? And you never know what gold you're going to come across when you ask. Item number 3, let's say you're at a point where you have a couple of different bands that you are interested in, but you don't know how to choose between them. Or you've got one band and you think this is the band, but you're not sure if you want to push the button and go for it. Well, item number 4 is going to a live band showcase. I think it's a great opportunity to watch somebody perform live. You can actually often have conversations with the band before or after, but there's so many reasons that you should go to a live wedding band showcase and really see them in action. And I wasn't able to fully articulate how important this is, so I had a chat with Stephen from the Lowell's Wedding Band. I know that they do loads of really amazing wedding showcases, and he was able to explain exactly why you should go to a wedding band showcase to help make the decision. So have a listen to what he had to say.
Hi, Stephen here from the Lowell's Wedding Band. The main advantage of going to see your band at a live showcase before you make your decision is that you get to see your band in a live setting. You'll get to hear how they sound, you'll get to see how they perform, and it'll also give an insight into the personality of the band and how they interact with you and your guests. This is always really important for your special day. Also, we'll say about phone videos won't give an accurate representation of a band. Sound quality won't be great. So I would advise against basing your decisions on those. Videos on websites, as close as they'll be to a good representation of the band. They'll always look great and sound great, but bear in mind they've been recorded in professional studios. So to sum it up, you just can't beat coming to see a band live, and human interaction will always win. So yeah, go and see your band. You won't regret it.
I 100% agree. You won't regret it if you get to see the band live. You can have great conversations, and like Stephen said, there's only so much you can get from watching a video. If it was filmed on a phone, especially, the sound quality is not great. And even if it was filmed professionally, there's something so special about watching a band live and seeing what they're like when they interact with the rest of the dance floor. Final point is talk to your venue. So on the one hand, they could have great recommendations, but more practically speaking, you want to find out if there are any live music restrictions. You know, some areas may have a cap at which you can't have any live music or any sound beyond a certain decibel level. There may be other things like, do they have sound equipment at the venue, or will you need to find a band that has all the sound equipment that you could possibly need? Is there a stage that's at the band, or if you need a stage, will the band provide that for you? all of those kinds of questions. It's helpful to talk it out with your venue just to make sure. And something that I always recommend doing is even when you're putting together your wedding guest list and you're working out how many people you can fit in the venue, it's worth saying to your wedding venue coordinator that you do want to have a band and you'd like to have a dance floor as well, because the space that the band would take up could very well be something where the venue has allocated that space for a table of guests. So have all the conversations you need to have with your venue to make sure they know that you have a wedding band in mind, you want to book them, you want to hire them, and you just want to make sure that they fit and that you're adhering to all the sound restrictions. To end off this episode, I asked Alan from Long Time Coming if there's anything else that couples should think about when they are looking for a wedding band, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, so definitely couples should keep in mind that when booking a wedding band, that most wedding bands are booked, say, 2 years in advance. So once you start the process, you book your venue, your celebrant or your church, and then you look at things like your band. And if you love your band, book them straight away. There's no point dilly-dallying because they will get snapped up by somebody else. Someone else will take that date. Like, by all means, shop around, but don't leave it. After you've made your initial inquiry, don't wait 2 months before coming back to your band to book. And also check in with your band for other services. Like for Long Time Coming, we provide band, DJ sax, ceremony music and drinks reception amongst other acts. So you could have a one-stop shop with your wedding band, to have 5 different services covered with one supplier. But with that, you have to do your research on those. Make sure any band that's providing any of those other services have reviews on those other services and a video footage and different things for you to show.
So helpful. Thank you very much, Alan. And a huge thank you to all our experts that have joined in today. That was Alan from Long Time Coming, it was Quillan from The Crush, and Stephen from The Lowells. Thanks so much to all 3 of you for joining us today and for giving some amazing expert advice for all our couples out there. So if you really appreciated the input that you got from these amazing experts and you want to chat with them about entertaining your guests at your wedding, then you can visit weddingsonline.ie. You can go to the blog section and find the episode breakdown for this episode, and I will have direct links there, and they will also be in the notes for this episode, where you can find that on Spotify or YouTube. But thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered and edited by Glenn Hartman. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.